Evening, race fans. Welcome to Backfire Simsport TV and welcome to Season 10 of the newly renamed BSTV TCR Challenge, brought to you tonight from the fantastic Okayama circuit in Japan. I'm Clyde Whiting, and in the booth with me tonight, it's my regular bedfellow. It is the one and only Sir Alan Toon. Good evening.
Well, good evening, Clyde. Good evening, Sam. And good evening, my horde of adoring fans. It's a pleasure to be here. Love this track. And it's a great racers track. And I'm looking forward to a great night's entertainment. Roll on.
As am I. And on the cameras, we're back to our professional-ish cameraman tonight. It's everybody's favourite Belgian. It's Mr. Sam Boozin. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody.
Right, folks, so let's get you up to speed first of all with the changes that have happened in the last 2 weeks in the off-season. So we had very, very limited numbers sign up for GT4. So we had a chat with the GT4 drivers and they decided amongst themselves that they would join the TCR ranks. So we have dropped the GT4s and henceforth we will be known as the BSTV TCR Challenge. We have got 19 drivers signed up. We're not sure whether they're all going to make it tonight, but when and if they do, it's going to be some fantastic racing. The other notable change is you're used to us having 60-minute races every week with the odd 90-minute race thrown in. We've now switched to a sprint feature format. So we will have a qualifying session followed by a 30-minute sprint race. There will be a short interval and then there will be a 60-minute feature race. Now, this is the same for every single race this season, barring the Nürburgring. Yes, iRacing have chucked that one into the schedule, and because the laps are like 11-12 minutes long, we've decided that is just going to be a straight 90-minute race. But every other race you watch is going to have 2 heats. That means there are 19 rounds. Sorry, I'm lying to you already. There are 23 rounds in this season. 12 race nights, a lot of points on the table. Sprint and feature races both score the same amount of points, but because we like to throw a little stick in the middle of things when they're looking very rosy, the feature race grid is the finishing order of the sprint race, but the top 8 drivers are reversed. So that's going to throw a little bit of a spanner in the works. So, Alan, with the changes afoot, it's going to be one hell of a season, isn't it?
Oh, goodness. It's hard to comprehend, isn't it? It's such a big change and very exciting as far as I'm concerned. It's an exciting change. We've got a whole raft of new influx of new blood into the TCR field, which was already pretty thrill-packed bunch of drivers. So now we've got all these other incredibly gifted drivers who've shunted sideways into the TCR, and who knows where it's going to be, but we can pretty much guarantee it's going to be great racing, that's for sure. The outcomes we don't know, do we?
No, and before we go on to anything else, I am just going to put all of us on the spot, to be honest. You know, just looking down that list, I'm just looking at the drivers and the order they run in at the moment. Sam Blease, Spencer McCarthy. So Sam Blease, past champion, Spencer McCarthy could be a champion if he turned up to all the rounds. Stefan Goebel just found his feet in the GT4s with Porsche, and we dropped it. But you never know. He's never really driven the TCR in anger. He might take to it like a duck to water. Shane Powell, Carl Hardy. Both drivers that have been up there in TCR and can most definitely, if they can string results together, they are going to be in it at the end. Simon Trendle has been fast when we've seen him in TCR. He's also been the champion in GT4, so I don't think the switch over to TCR is going to bother him in the slightest. JB Dejoux in his new team, now driving for BSTV Esports Blue. And he has shown some steady progress last season, and hopefully some more progress this season. Stephen Walker, a past TCR champion, did a season in GT4 last season. Expect to see him up at the pointy end. And then we've got Arnaud Chenonnier, Jason Haddington, two more GT4 drivers that have switched over to TCR. But I'm sure, those two, along with Chris Needham as well, all RWC racing guys, I'm sure that they are going to pick up the TCR fairly quickly. Jamie Wilson, he's won races in TCR, so, he's going to get up there. And then there's Russell Cowell, another one that has, been up the pointy end in our previous TCR races. So I think, Alan, after all that, what I'm trying to say is I have absolutely no idea who's going to win this season.
Exactly. But look at it. I mean, you could throw all those names into the hat, couldn't you? Everyone's a potential winner because we've seen so many of these people win races in different cars, and talent is talent. It's interesting at the moment that the guys at the top of the leaderboard at the moment in the practice are the people, the experienced recent TCR drivers. It's Stefan's up there, but the others will get. There's Stephen starting to show they're a bit sore off the mark, but they'll soon get their feet. And you're not going to keep, like you say, you're just not going to keep the drivers like Simon and Stephen back. They're just going to rise up. So I'm looking for some epic battles. The likes, Mr. Blees and Mr. McCarthy. They're used to being top dogs around here. This, with Simon Trendle and everybody else coming in, that's a lot of serious extra competition, isn't it? And no way of calling it. I've no idea what's going to happen.
No, exactly. And Sam, the cars. So nothing new in the way of a new car in TCR, but the usual tweak by iRacing to the car physics and things like that. And the Audi, after being a dog for a few seasons, has got some serious love this season.
It seems the case, and apparently also some landmines, which we won't talk about, but that exists. They've been shown by the drivers on the Discord. It's going to be interesting to see if they actually take the curves and try their luck, or if they stay away from the curves and maybe lose a bit of time, but you never know.
Yeah, and I think we was informed that there is a patch coming tomorrow that is possibly going to sort that one out. So
a bit too late for the race, though.
Yeah, too late for tonight. So apart from that, for the folks at home, usual, we have the Drivers' Championship, we have the Team Championship, we have the Driver of the Season, which is done by us commentators, and we also have the head-to-head. So the head-to-head wasn't going to go ahead. Was head-to-head wasn't going to go ahead. Yeah, no, excellent, great, that one, Clyde. Didn't mean to say that, but I said it anyway. But now everything's in one class. It means that the head-to-head can, in fact, go ahead. Hopefully everybody at home can see the wheel on their screen, which Sam is going to put up very, very shortly. We've tried to keep children away from your screens with the picture in the middle, so I'm sure you will all appreciate that. as per usual, we have, like I said, we've got 19 drivers. So we will have Group 1 will be 5 drivers, 2 5 drivers, Group 3 5 drivers, 4 drivers into Group 4. The group stages run until the end of round 12, and the top 2 from each group will go through to the quarterfinals. So, without further ado, Sam, do you want to spin the wheel and let's find out who our first driver going into Group 1 is? And it's looking like it's Mr. Stefan Goebel straight into Group 1. Okay, first driver into Group 2. Now, when I was testing the wheel, JB Dejoux was coming out first every time I spun it. But this time he's come out second. So into Group 2, it's JB Dejoux. First driver out for Group 3. Oh, is that going to stop? I think it is. It's going to stop on Russell Cowell. And then our first driver into Group 4. Oh, it's the man of the moment. The man you see in the middle of your screen. It's Mr. Carl Hardy. Okay, back to Group 1 and joining Stefan Goebel. Can he keep away from the big guns? It's Walker Jr. It's Tony. Okay, second driver out in Group 2, joining JB Dejoux. It's going to be a big gun. It's Stephen Walker. Okay, over to Group 3 and joining Russell Cowell. Where's that one going to stop? It's going to stop with Kylie. It's Jason Haddington. And joining the Pie Man, Carl Hardy, in Group 4, it is... Oh, this is looking ominous. No, it's going to stop. It's still a difficult one. It's Shane Powell. Group 4 already shaping up to be a bit of a group of death. Okay, back to Group 1, joining Stefan Goebel and Tony Walker. Oh, there's another big gun. Spencer McCarthy. Can he do a full season? Into Group 2 and joining JB Dejoux and Stephen Walker. Ooh, that's a biggie. It's Sam Blease. So 2 previous champs already in Group 2. Over to Group 3, joining Russell Cowell and Jason Haddington. It's Wobbly Kneecaps. Now, those guys won't mind that because Wobbly has a bit of a league clash going on, won't be able to do all the rounds. Group 4, Carl Hardy, Shane Powell. Is it going to get any easier for him? I don't think it is. Told you it was going to be the group of death. It's Simon Trendle. With only 2 going through, we're definitely going to lose a top driver there. Group 1, Stephen Goebel, Tony Walker, Spencer McCarthy and Roger Morton. Group 2 already with a couple of big guns in there. JB Dejoux, Stephen Walker and Sam Blease will be joined by... It's going to be a Matt. It's Matt Flannery. Okay, Group 3 joining Russell Cowell, Jason Haddington and Wobbly Kneecaps. It's Jamie Wilson. Okay, Group 4, Carl Hardy, Shane Powell, Simon Trendle. If this is going to be the true group of death, it's going to be Matt Elmore. I need to do the lottery. Okay, what a group. Okay, final driver out in Group 1. Joining Stephen Goebel, Tony Walker, Spencer McCarthy, Roger Morton. It's Arnaud Chenonnier. Okay, final driver in Group 2, joining JB Dejoux, Stephen Walker, Sam Blease, Matt Flannery. It is Andy Littler. Which just leaves, going into Group 3, it's Chris Needham.
Wow.
There we have it. So let's just run through the groups again. Group 1, Stephen Goebel, Tony Walker, Spencer McCarthy, Roger Morton and Arnaud Chenonnier. Group 2, JB Dejoux, Stephen Walker, Sam Blease, Matt Flannery and Andy Littler. Group 3, Russell Cowell, Jason Haddington, Wobbly Kneecaps, Jamie Wilson and Chris Needham. And Group 4, Group of Death, it's Carl Hardy, Shane Powell, Simon Trendle and Matt Elmore. And if you want to have a look at the groups at any time, just visit the league page on our website, look at standings, go down to head and you can see who's in each group and how they're getting on. Right, so back to tonight. We've had, as Sam said, we've had this problem reported of landmines on this track. We did, I can't remember where we had it before, but basically the car runs over a curb and destroys its suspension. In the good old days, the car would also launch into orbit somewhere. But it hasn't happened for a while. And then, like I said, last season, we seem to get caught up at one track with it. Then there's been a report of it this season. Now, Alan, we're hoping that drivers have seen the issue. Maybe you're going to take some extra caution around the curbs so that it doesn't impact anybody's race.
Do you know which curb it is, Clyde?
Do you know what I do?
Second
But
to
I
last.
forgot.
It's the second to last corner where the pit entry is, if I'm not mistaken, from the video I saw from.
So
actually,
you can avoid that one. You know, it's not one that's highly critical. You can actually drive around it without too much trouble, can't you? So
Yeah, well, to be honest, if you look at it, any curb you can drive around. It's a driver's choice on how much curb they take. But yeah, some drivers like to crawl all over the curbs, don't they? And some drivers like to miss them totally, a bit like me with apexes. I never usually have any trouble with curbs on the inside, just curbs on the outside. Evening two, who's full throttle? I can't remember who full throttle is. Oh, it's Wobbly, isn't it? That's why. So evening two, Wobbly on the chat. Good luck in whatever you're doing tonight. Evening two, David Ayres says good evening all. Car changes all round after the patch. Well, if anybody wants to change cars after the patch, David, it's going to cost them 200 points because what they've brought to the track tonight, they're locked into until mid-season. But as we said, there's been some love shown to the Audi. I believe, I could be totally wrong here, but I believe we've got all 4 cars on the track. We've definitely got the Velociraptor, we've definitely got the Audi, I've seen the Honda. Did anybody stick with the Elantra, Sam? Can you see? There you go. JB does you did. So, that makes a nice refreshing change. All 4 different types of car on the track, and makes it, shall we say, visually better, Alan.
Yes, and that's a very handsome car that Tony's driving, isn't it? Beautiful. Going to be this is bubbling up because I really don't know what's going to happen. I'm watching the times, and this track, everybody knows this track like the back of their hands, of course. So it's and it's a racer's track. It promotes close racing. So this is. I'm wondering how this is going to pan out. It's all very exciting, isn't it? The uncertainty is delicious.
Yeah, it's the other big rule change. It was a rule tweak. Was we used to start these sessions off in the morning, sim time, obviously, and that gave us some nice, cool, grippy tracks most of the time. Although Jason Haddington would disagree. We've changed that up this season, so we are starting in afternoon conditions. So already I can tell you that the sim time is just coming up on 3 p.m. and the track is 114 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 28 degrees Celsius.
No, it's 46. 28 will be a lovely track temperature, but it's 46 track temperature.
Sorry, yes. I was looking at the air temperature there. Yeah, 46 degrees track temperature, as Sam rightly points out. So, we're not quite sure what this is going to do. It's obviously going to make the track not as grippy and a bit more slippery, but it could, in fact, increase the tyre wear, especially on these front-wheel drive TCR cars, Alan, that steering, driving and doing everything through those front wheels. We could see a few tyre change strategies coming into play now.
Interesting. Of course, they'll get information from the first race of how long tyres are going to actually last in racing conditions. So, because that won't be a problem in the sprint race. But these temperatures and this time of day change is significant. The time of day affects the light and everything else, all the shadows, everything's different. The tracks feel differently in the afternoon light, and they react differently in the temperatures because there's a lot of shadow here, so that means a lot of sunlight, and that means it's a hot track. And drivers beware, you need to be careful when the sun's on the tarmac like this.
Yeah, I wonder if there are any numpties out there still doing what I used to do and use shadows for brake markers. that was fine when, you know, iRacing was in its infancy and the sun was in the same position in the sky, you know, all day, every day. Until they started to realise that the world went round, and the suns then started to move, and all of a sudden my brake markers weren't working for the whole race. Took me a little while to work that one out, but I got there eventually. So yeah, I'm not quite sure yet, Alan, what and if that is going to significantly impact tactics. We'll just have to wait and see. But like you said, you know, the sprint race, 30 minutes, you know, the drivers shouldn't have any issues whatsoever. We'll try and remember 46 degrees track temperature and have a look at what it is for the feature race. Because again, you know, if it's considerably hotter or considerably cooler, the information gained in the sprint race is going to be absolutely useless, which again could change things up tactically. The cars still are limited on fuel, so although they can make the sprint race without stopping, they will definitely have to stop in the feature race. But there is a nice long window of opportunity for them. So we're coming up, Alan, on the end of the practice session. Obviously we came on air early this evening. We'll be back to our normal time next week, but we just wanted to explain all the rule changes and do the head-to-head draw and things like that. So we are going to get to see the whole of the 15-minute qualifying session. And I always find that, especially around Okayama, qualifying can be quite important because it's not always a particularly easy track to overtake on, is it, Alan? It's one of those that it's sort of one of three things. You're either relying on the driver in front of you to make a mistake, you're putting your car in a position where you leave the other driver a decision to make on whether they turn in you or give you enough space, or you can spend 2 or 3 corners or 2 or 3 laps trying to work out where you're better than the car in front and trying to set them up for an overtake. There's lots of different ways to get past people on a track that can be difficult to get past people.
Well, the main straight is the obvious. It's all about braking, isn't it? Outbraking the other guy. We've got a couple of delicious. We've got the main straight with that gorgeous right-hander that feeds off there so nicely, and that's a really classic overtaking place. And we've got that wicked hairpin as well, which is another classic one for the brave. But yeah, it is a track for the brave. If you're going to make a pass here, you've really got to make your pass. It won't, unless a mistake comes your way, and I think that's not so likely with these guys on this circuit. Though, having said that, with the heat of the track, you know, it's slippery. But even so, you can't depend on the other guy gifting you. So these will be looking at attacking options, and to do that, you've got to time your attacks perfectly, and you've got to get your car in the perfect position. It requires skill and nerve.
Yeah,
there's plenty of that.
Yeah, there's plenty of both on the show. I would hasten to add tonight. And then, you know, going into that feature race, top 8 reversed. So, you know, whoever wins the sprint race is going to be starting from 8th position in the feature race. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot, but you can pretty much guarantee there's going to be 7 top-notch drivers in front of you that if you want a double win, you're going to have to get past all of them. I'm going to sort of hedge a bet that I'm pretty doubtful, if I'm honest, that we're going to see double winners this season. What do you think, Alan?
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I was just thinking, if you've got this reverse grid coming out and you've got these really quick drivers, they're going to be fighting through the field. Well, you just said that how it's difficult to get by here. It's, you know, you've got to. It's not easy to get by. You've got to force an overtake. So
it's not impossible, is it? But
no,
it's not easy.
no. But so then the pit stops take on a much greater importance in this. The guy who's been saving his fuel, the guy who's been smart with his accelerator, he's going to take advantage of that time in the pit lane, isn't he, to make places. So this becomes then a much more of a strategic. The long race is going to be far more strategic. It's far more thinking about the outcome and what is there potentially on there for you. And that's going to be a very different race, and especially with these temperatures.
Yeah, and you know the other spanner in the works for these drivers is I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll finish 8th. I'll get pole position for race 2 and get a race victory. Yeah, that's great. If you're interested in clocking up race victories, but if you're interested in scoring points and winning the championship, you're going to be giving up a lot of points in race 1 to finish 8th. To hope that you're definitely going to be on pole for race 2, but are you going to stay up there? You're losing a lot in race 1 for an unknown in race 2. And even trying to, we've seen it in the past when we've had top 10 reverse grids, drivers trying to finish 10th and somebody runs out of fuel and they finish 9th, or somebody pips them right at the end and they're 11th. So, I can't see anybody using that as a tactic. Can you, Alan?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of reverse grids anyway, because they don't know me. And I don't like the way they misrepresent the races, really. I think the guys who do the best qualifying should be in the front, and it should go on race pace, really. But it does make I think for the drivers it's an interesting challenge, isn't it? It changes things up for the drivers to be put in that situation. And I think we've got an honourable bunch of guys here, so I'm not looking at anybody to use those changes in a strategic or tactical manner, really.
Yeah, and I know what you're saying with the reverse grids. I think although our options are better than they used to be, we are still a bit limited on what we can do, with iRacing and setting up sessions. There are many real life series now that use reverse grids for second races. There's some real life series that actually reverse people from the original qualifying grid, which is interesting. But you're right, from a driver's point of view, you want to be, I'm the fastest person in qualifying, therefore I'm going off first, and if I win race 1 I want to be going off first in race 2. But from a viewing spectacle, the reverse grids certainly shake things up. They tend to keep championships, shall we say, closer for longer. I was a bit like you. I was very sceptical about them, but I've seen how well they work. There's series out there as well, real world series that, grid for race 1 is the qualifying result, but then grid for race 2 might be your second best qualifying lap and things like that. But we can't do that, so our only option is this reverse grid. We've done it in other series. It's worked quite well. I suppose the proof is in the pudding, isn't it, Alan? And we'll see whether it works in this series or not.
Oh, I think it's I think it makes good racing. I don't like them because, of course, you get full reverse grids. I'm finishing last, and that dumps me right in front of a horde of hungry racers, the slowest guy on the track.
This is only the top 8, so.
So my experience of these things was fairly a fearful occasion. Reverse grids when I was a young whippersnapper 2 weeks ago. But it will shake things up. It certainly will, and a lot of the drivers actually enjoy it, don't they? They like the challenge because they're here to enjoy the. It's not all about the winning, is it? It's it's a lot about
No,
the joy of the driving and the racing. These guys
yeah,
enjoy the racing.
there are. Don't get me wrong. There are drivers out there that want to win every race, but I won't mention any names. But there are also a number of drivers in this field tonight that have said to me. They race in this series because there's always someone to race with. The racing is fair, the racing is as clean as it can be, it's very respectful. They don't really care where they finish, they don't care if they're battling for 15th place, but there's 6 cars in that battle and anyone can take it. So yeah, I totally agree. I just think it's a very good known for this series. Say Spencer McCarthy, just because he's popped himself up on provisional pole, wins race 1 from lights to flag. He's going to have to go from 8th position, and he will have the likes of Sam Blees, a Matt Elmore, a Stephen Walker, a Carl Hardy, all in front of him that he's got to get past. So I'm looking at this. We've always had close finishes in this championship, and I just think this season's going to be even closer.
Sounds like a delicious prospect, doesn't it, Clyde?
We're saying that now, and it'll probably all fall apart, and somebody will win every single race, like Steve Walker almost did one season. But I'm hoping the changes that we've made, are going to keep this series going, keep the interest going, keep the racing fantastic, clean and respectful. And, we're in season 10 already. That means this has been going for over 2 years. And there's no reason why it can't still be going in another 2 years. So really looking forward to it. And something else I'm really looking forward to, and I said it at the top of the hour, these GT4 drivers that have not really driven the TCRs, Stefan Goebel seems to have found his feet quickly.
Yeah. No, I'm not surprised, actually. I'm not surprised. I wonder if it's just because he's been just really driving brilliantly well in the last few weeks, so he just transferred over, or he's just got an affinity for, because it's front wheel drive. It's a very different thing from his Porsche, isn't it? I mean,
It is.
Can't imagine anything more different, really.
Exactly, it's an entirely different drive, isn't it?
Look, these cars are brilliant around this circuit. It's such the corners delicious, and the way the nose heavy car. It's all on the front, as you say. The way they go into the corners, it's fantastic. They're an amazing drive, and they like this circuit.
Yeah, we've got a real mix of tracks this season. Rounds 3 and 4 are from the mighty Daytona road course. These cars are going to be breathing out of their backsides going round there. Barcelona National, rounds 5 and round 6. So that's the smaller one. So that's going to be interesting. Then we had round 7 and round 8 was a champion's choice. Last season's TCR champion Sam Blees chose Monza combined with no chicanes. Now, we did that one season as a driver's choice in GT3, and it was absolutely phenomenal. There were some drivers that died some very horrible deaths that night. Rounds 9 and 10, new track. I'm probably going to pronounce this all wrong. Oschersleben, something like that. Not even looked at it yet, but I'm told it's a fantastic track. Then the cars get to stretch their legs again in rounds 11 and 12. Sebring, one of my absolute favourites. Rounds 13 and 14, Sandown. That track is going to be brilliant. Then we go to our endurance round, Nürburgring Combined VLN. A track that I've probably learnt the first 2 corners, and then after that I get lost. So again, you know, watch out, just a top tip, watch out for Stefan Goebel around there. Then we go to Mid-Ohio, 16 and 17. Then it's Champions Choice again. Last season's GT4 champion Simon Trendle, rounds 18 and 19, has picked Alton Park Island. Rounds 20 and 21, another new track, Rudskogen, something like that. Again, not even looked at it. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. And then we finish the season off on November the 30th with the final 2 rounds from Laguna Seca. So a real mixed bag there, Alan.
Yes,
big tracks, little tracks, wide open
unknown
tracks,
tracks. Yes,
unknown tracks, a bit of everything. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic, I think. Right, qualifying. We are coming up on 10.5 minutes. Spencer McCarthy currently sits on provisional pole. Stephen Walker up there, provisionally 2nd. Sam Blees 3rd. Matt Elmore 4th. Carl Hardy 5th. I still don't think that's done and dusted yet, with over 4 minutes left.
I think it's an important little quality actually, because new drivers in the grid, and people will be feeling each other out and checking the other guy in their mirrors, and Spencer's up there, Stephen's up there as well. You see, quick adaptation, and these are all experienced drivers who've driven TCRs before, probably. So I don't think anybody would be worried about the car or the track, except maybe the conditions are probably a bit warm for some. But this is everybody will be curious and interested, won't they? It's an exciting time for the drivers.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go back to the chat. Gary Craig says, good to see JB in BSTV colours. Andrew Littler, good evening, all good luck for the new season. He should be driving tonight, but he's on the train coming back from London to Sunderland. David Ayres says it's great to see the Audi out again. And Marco Lewert, Oschersleben, not bad, Clive. Right, thanks for that, Martin Lewert. He says it's a terrible track, but easier to learn than Nordschleife. To be honest, I think Braille is easier to learn than Nordschleife, but some people love it. I can't stand it, but never mind, that's just me. At least one of my favourites is on the schedule, and that's Sebring, and there'll be people out there going, oh, I hate Sebring, it's really boring. But each to their own. 2.5 minutes left. No change in the top 3, but Stefan Goebel has got himself back up to 4th position. Matt Elmore in 5th. I believe there's a lot of drafting going on, Alan.
I'd be very surprised if there wasn't. Everybody will be taking whatever advantage they can, but you'll notice there's not an awful lot in the times for the top 10, 12 drivers.
Yeah, well, the top 8 at least are all within 1 second of each other, and then 9th and 10th are only 1.1 behind Spencer McCarthy. So yeah, fantastically close.
The tow, well, if the times are that close, you'd expect the tow to have at least some effect, at least in the early manoeuvres. We shall see.
Yeah, pit lane here, not the easiest either.
No,
not the worst we've seen, but
the exit's okay, isn't it?
Yeah,
But the entry's a bit
some
awful.
Concentration on the entry, doesn't it? And I think, as Alan pointed out earlier, you know, pit stops are going to be, or could be the make and break of your race, especially this evening in race 2. So yeah, I'm hoping drivers have done plenty of practice for the pit entry.
Yes, well, they're a pro bunch, aren't they? I'm sure they'll have put the laps in. This is such a familiar track to everybody, isn't it, Clyde? You know, we come here from the get-go. This was the first place that I ever did any serious laps to try and learn how to drive a car. And in the first few weeks on iRacing, this was where I came. It's a delicious selection of just the right kind of corners to learn about braking and trying to get around, do two things at once, watch where you're going and use the brake.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. It has got a little bit of everything, isn't it? And it's very good to people have certain tracks that when a new car comes out and they buy it, they take it specifically to that track because they know it really well and they can work out how well the car handles. I believe this is one of those tracks. But anyway, qualifying is over. So we go into our first ever sprint race in the BSTV TCR Challenge, Season 10, Round 1. And your pole sitter is Spencer McCarthy for Geodesic Racing, Stephen Walker in second for Spectre 6 Purple, third Sam Blees Geodesic Racing, fourth Stefan Goebel VTS Esports, fifth Matt Elmore Spectre 6 Silver, Carl Hardy in 6th for Safeguard by Result Clothing. Simon Trendle in 7th, Team Chimera. 8th is Shane Powell, Spectre 666. 9th, Russell Cowell, Spectre 6 Silver. 10th, JB Dejoux, BSTV Esports Blue. And 11th is Chris Needham for RWC Racing Red. In 12th, also RWC Racing Red, it's Arnaud Chenonnier. In 13th, Jamie Wilson, Team Chimera. 14th, Spectre 6 Purple, it's Tony Walker. In 15th, Jason Haddington, RWC Racing Blue. And Roger Morton in 16th for Safeguard by Result Clothing. And bringing up the rear of your field at the moment, it's Matt Flannery for Geodesic Racing White. So, still on a rolling start, guys. I ummed and ahed whether to change it to a standing start, but without a chance to speak to the drivers, I thought we would keep this season as is and see what happens. So as the cars go around the grid, you will see we have some new windscreen banners and decal numbers on the cars. Anybody that you see with a yellow banner on their car is a current or past champion in this series. All other drivers will have their names on a blue banner. And straight away you can see at the front one of the fastest drivers in the series, but never to win a championship, Spencer McCarthy. But there's a lot of yellow on that grid.
Yes, there's a pile of experience out there, isn't there? And speed.
Yeah. Not only have the drivers had to put up with all that, but they've had to put up with a new website as well. It's all been going on. Okay, so pace car peels in. Spencer McCarthy is now the de facto pace car. Everybody will go on him. And he's gone. He's away. Car's fanning out already. 2 wide, 3 wide.
Pretty cool first corner. Cold tyres, hot track.
Yeah, the driver's going to have to take it as easy as they possibly dare, but they dare not take it too easy because they're just going to get freight trained.
Exactly. There's no hiding place out there, is there?
No. Stefan Goebel down a couple of places, I believe.
He's probably just being careful off the start, you know. It's he won't be in any rush. He'll be feeling his way into the race, and some guys are more impetuous than others. I don't think Stefan's that kind of a driver, really. Side by side through there. That's brave. The first lap or two. Not wasting any time getting stuck in, are they, these guys?
Well, it's you know, it's nice to see
Oh,
that
oh, 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 oh. It's like shit.
some
It's like, oh
things,
no, or you,
some things
JB.
don't change, do they?
Somebody got a whack into his wing.
There is a certain Jason Haddington at the back of the pack who's already been off track. Didn't spin it, but
Was it JB or
this is JB, yeah, in the blue BSTV colours. He got run out a little bit there, didn't he?
Not too bad. Thought it was worse than that. Could have been. It could have been worse. Good job he didn't hit a post. Nice paint. Car looks smart. Come on, Jason.
Here we have Kylie. He's just a half Kylie tonight.
Just caught up by that cold.
Yeah, gathered it up, but he's got some catching up to do now.
They can be a bit tail happy, you know. It's the front wheel drive car, all the weight and the turning forces at the front. Kylie's used to a rear wheel drive, I think, and
yeah,
it does take adjustment. That's for sure.
And again, you know, another plus side of double-headed race nights. You make a mistake in race one. That's not your night over.
Well, there's is that Stefan putting a move on Carl?
Yeah,
He's not wasted any time getting his mojo working now.
It was a fair but forceful.
Yes, now Carl's been a bit concerned about his pace. He says he's been just a little bit off the pace compared with the other guys, particularly the guys in the Audi. He reckons the Audi's got a distinct straight line advantage, and that he's only just hanging on because he's at least as good in the corners. So there's a lot of change. The cars have changed, you know, and yeah. It's a whole new ball game out there. So who's in the pits then? We've lost somebody into the pits.
JB.
Was it JB? Oh.
Yeah, perhaps he got more damage than looked like from that contact.
Oh, he looked. My first impression was a fair old whack, but from the second one, he looks a bit more glancing. But you know.
Well,
Is the new damage, because we've got a new damage medal on the Masters, is that the same on this? So,
yes, I believe we have got it on this as well now. So I was just going to say Jamie Wilson and Simon Trendle keeping up their trend of trying to pick the least popular car in a class to drive. So you'll see them both in the Civic.
I love their consistency and resolve.
Yeah, currently Simon Trendle in 7th, Jamie Wilson 11th.
They're just getting warmed up, don't you worry. Look at this field. This is great, isn't it? Look at all those cars. All strung out in a line. Stefan's not been able to break away from Carl. Simon's stuck behind Carl. I mean, how long is that going to stay the same? We don't know, do we? But he's going to struggle to get past Carl and Stefan.
Well, Carl's making a move there.
Oh, look at this. Classic. Did him on the inside. Beautiful. Can he do it down the straight?
Well, he should be able to hold it here.
He's got the line. He's got the line. Yeah, and Simon's going as well. It's going to be wide. Oh, that's so on the edge going around there. It's delicious, isn't it? And this is so tricky coming around here. This left-hander's trying to throw you right off the track. And you just about gather it up and then you're flat out. And it's gung-ho into this beautiful right-hander. And you've got to get it just right. You don't want to lose any of your pace. If you lose your pace, you've lost it around here. You've got to keep your pace up and take it through there. Now you're rising up the hill and you go into the hairpin and it's flat out. Man against man, car against car. Who's got the best exit from the corner?
Yeah.
And we're coming to the hairpin. Wow.
They're still making moves. I say Stefan lost 2. He's now under pressure from Shane Powell. I think he may have lost another one. Or can he just cling onto it here? definitely lost another one. Now he's under pressure from Russell.
Wow, it's all chop and change at the moment.
Well, we saw a lap ago exactly what happens, you know. Carl Hardy making that move on Stefan Goebel. Simon Trendle decided to go with him and got the move done as well. And you're going to see that for the, you know, the whole of this race and the feature race as well.
Sure, it's what you're going to see with skillful drivers, especially when you're in close like this. Everybody's in the toe look, and it's what I thought. Well, it's actually rather better, more than I thought. I knew there would be a bit of toe because the times were so close. So, but yeah, they're stringing out. Mind you, it's still very early. We've only had 7 minutes of racing. They will string out more, but I love it when it's like this, when it's close and they're nose to tail, and everybody's pushing on and trying their best.
Stephen Walker now putting pressure on Sam Blease for second.
And they just did both the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah.
At the same time on the same lap, but not the same sectors.
Wow.
There it is. There's
Fantastic.
the move.
See, it's
Sam's
classic.
not
It's
giving it
classic
up, though, is he?
spot. Whoa. Well, it's such a beautiful sequence of corners, isn't it? You know.
Yeah. Spencer's going to be loving that. Simon Trendle now trying to find a way past Carl Hardy. Stefan Goebel is back on the rear bumper of Shane Powell. Oh, that looked like a nudge.
I don't think there's any way you're going to avoid it coming around here like this with this so close contact. Everybody's trying to get on the same piece of tarmac at the same time. It's just that you're going to get the occasional rub. But Carl's making that car very wide. Carl's a very good defensive driver, and this is the kind of track where if you know it well, and he certainly does, you can make your car very wide. And even somebody as quick as Simon is going to have his hands full getting by, because Carl's just got that probably just enough pace to be frustrating.
Yeah, I think if Carl wants to make it wider, he should get out.
Well, I think there's something to do with transdimensional space inside the car where it bulges out to try and avoid him because there's so much of him in there.
That Civic looks like it's turning really, really well. Looks like he can turn inside of Carl Hardy whenever he wants to.
Yeah, well, he's got him this time, hasn't he?
Yeah, Carl's going to fight it. Because you can hang on there, which he's done.
We'll see how it's still. Oh, but if Simon keep it up there, he's still got the advantage at the end of the. He's going to have the last say, isn't he? If he can
Shane
keep side
Powell's
by
got his
side.
nose in there as well.
Oh, this is awesome. Oh, these corners are so absolutely gorgeous. And these drivers know it like the back of their hand, so they can just take the line. They know how far they can go off the line and still, you know, be effective. And this is it's like a masterclass of how to handle Okayama, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we're a third of the way into this sprint race, 10 minutes down. Arno Chenonnier in the background trying to break the toe of Jamie Wilson, not able to do it.
Wow, this is great racing, you guys. Simon and Carl, side by side. Carl's just got the edge. They're exchanging the lead. Any mistake, look, they've got shocks behind them.
Yeah.
Oh, crikey.
Carl tried to tuck in behind Simon. That battle was done, but there was a car there that knocked him a bit sideways, but managed to keep hold of it.
Yes, it looks like we both got away with that. Would have been very unfortunate. We don't want to see that kind of outcome after this tremendous passage of racing.
7 cars there from Simon Trendle in 5th down to Jamie Wilson in 11th.
Carl's fighting for every inch of this track. Oh.
Definitely some paint being traded there.
They're loving this, crikey. Doesn't it make you
Given-
just want to get into behind the wheel?
Yeah, it's given Simon Trendle a bit of a break.
Well, I think once he got past Carl, he was going to be the cork out the bottle, wasn't he? He was going to be certainly have a little bit of pace advantage. And he's starting to make that show already, isn't he?
Yeah, JB getting lapped there. Oh no, sorry, I'm lying to you. That's Matt Flannery, isn't it? They were inside each other's cars there, just looking at the differences. JB's going to have this one done, I believe.
Oh, this is their race. They want to be enjoying it. I'm sure they are. This is the joy of this league. There's somebody to race with. It doesn't matter where you are. And nobody cares about position.
Yeah,
We want a race.
Trendle backwards battle, as I'm going to call it, has sorted itself out for a little while. Drivers having a breather.
That's quite a gaggle. 9 cars on this short straight.
Yeah, now Carl and Russell have stopped battling each other. They're getting back to Simon again. Stephen Walker and Sam Blease still going at it. Matt Elmore is catching those two up as well.
Love that paint. I love that yellow and green combination. Looks brilliant. Isn't that a bonny sight? The orange and the black and the yellow and the green. Wow, doesn't get any better than this. Nose to tail.
Well, Spencer McCarthy away in the lead by over 3 seconds because of this battle that keeps raging for second place. These 7, the front 3 of these 7 have strung out a little bit. Shane Powell, Stefan Goebel, Arno Chenonier, Jamie Wilson still under a blanket.
It's only tense in it, isn't there? With only tense in the lap times, they're not going to split them up.
It's like, you know, every time cars go side by side, they lose some time to the car in front, they get single file again and catch it back up again.
Stephen's doing very well now, isn't he? He's found some pace. He's put himself firmly in among the regular TCR guys.
Well, Stephen Walker is a double TCR champion.
I seem to remember him spending a long time with the #1 jersey on.
Yeah, I think one of those championships he won, I'm sure it was 11 out of the 12 races.
I think something like that, wasn't it? Domineering performance. I think he was glad when that came to an end and he got a bit of competition, but he race again.
Yeah, again, you know, we said it before. There are drivers that are quite happy to win every single race that they enter. Although I think Stephen is one of those that would rather be racing with somebody than 20 seconds in the lead every single race.
Yes, he said as much, didn't he? And of course, he's been relishing his battles with Simon over the last few races. He's been he's had somebody to race with and enjoying it, pushed to his limits.
Yeah,
which is,
Stefan,
what every good driver wants.
Stefan's showing his nose there to Shane. Shane went out to block that and defend. Stefan back in line, but now back into the clutches of Arnaud Chenonnier.
It's
He's
a tough
still
ask,
being
isn't it?
hounded by Jamie Wilson.
It's a tough ask to make progress through this lot. Crikey. 50 halfway through. Cars are starting to look a bit battered. Tyres will starting to show some wear now.
I think that's where Carl Hardy was doing really, really well. He wasn't defending the inside into the first corner because he knew he could go round the outside and get the lead, or the lead of the battle back into the second corner.
So they're whittled down to 4 cars now. And looks like Carl's making the jump over to Simon. He'll be delighted with that because he was worried about his pace. He thought he was a bit down on pace, especially against Matt and the other guys.
Just a quick word of warning to people that are watching. Sam, our cameraman, has got a thunderstorm starting. So if we do lose connection, that will be why. Hopefully the weather gods are on our side. The cake gods certainly are, because it's just been delivered.
Oh, goodness me. Your sacrifices always work. It's amazing.
Well, I shall try and tell you what I've got. I don't know exactly. I think it is some sort of chocolate fudge brownie hot thing. Is
Doesn't sound too bad.
butterscotch Angel Delight ice cream.
Wow. Oh, I've got some nice ice cream in the freezer. You reminded me, I'd forgotten about it. Some posh stuff I bought.
Oh, come on, stop now. I do as well, but it's not good for what I have, which is too much weight.
You get an awful lot of thunderstorms, don't you, Sam? Is that normal for you to get big thunderstorms as often as this?
This year is quite weird because it's been like super hot. It was still 30 degrees yesterday, which September where I live, it's way over what it should be.
Sure.
Like, it should be 20 around at the moment.
It's
And
extraordinary.
yeah, we had like, I don't know how you call that in English, in fact. Thunderstorm because of the heat during the summer. And no, it's a proper one with rain and all that. So yeah, we'll see.
Oh, well, touch wood, you're all right, my friend.
We've just seen Jamie Wilson finally get past Arnaud Chenonnier up into 10th.
And some dust from the somebody pushing their luck on the entry into the straight there. They will probably been sizing this up for a while. Oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? That is beautiful driving.
Yeah, I don't really know what the cars are like now. People saying when these new batch of TCRs come out that the Honda was very, very good on under braking.
Well, that was how it was survivor, wasn't it? Because it lost its top end, and the Elantra was just driving away from it after the Civic had been the top dog for a season. But now it's all changed again, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it seems that maybe Audi had the biggest brown envelope this season.
So Jamie's looking at Stefan, licking his lips. How's he doing for time? I don't think he's got time, has he? Think he can make that?
James Powell going backwards at the moment.
Well, that's surprising.
Well, we see Jamie go past him. And then Arnaud went past him as well.
Hasn't picked up any damage, has he? I'm surprised to see him going backwards like that. Oh, there you go. Pits.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Oh, Carl, it was Carl
Oh,
on
hello.
some pit. Hello,
Hello.
that looks like a broken car. Oh, he's had to tow.
That looks like a food stop.
Oh, he must have had low blood sugar. Had to tow for a quick pie. So what was going on there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good landmine.
Really on the curb. Drivers knew about it.
Yes. And to be honest, it's a curb I can never manage to hit. Even when I'm trying, I can never manage to hit it. So you're unfortunate to actually clip that one, I think.
He knew straight away, didn't he?
Yeah. I could see the air turning blue in colour. It's amazing. So, Shane's out. What's this? Here we go. Oh, ooh. Well pulled up there. So, Carl's out again. He's back on the road.
Yeah, that's shook things up a bit, hasn't it, in that middle order. So Russell Cowell 6th, Stefan Goebel 7th, Jamie Wilson currently in that reverse pole position of 8th. Arnaud Chenonnier 9th, Tony Walker up into the top 10.
Tony's quietly doing a nice drive here, isn't he?
Yeah, and I can't remember ever seeing Tony in this series. I know he joined us for GTCC.
No, normally he's...
hello.
Hello. Oh.
That was Mr. Morton. You are not going quick enough. I'm going to speed you up. Right, go quicker, Roger. Go quicker, Roger. Roger, you're not going quicker. Right, I'm speeding you up. There you go.
That's our morning paint for Her Majesty. Black paint that Roger did specifically for these races. He did one for us for last night in the Masters, and he's done one tonight. One-off paints for Madge. So I've lost to us all.
Right, we've got 5 minutes left. Oh. What's that curve, Mr. Cowell? Blease has just put in his fastest lap of the race.
He's just getting warmed up now, Sam. 5 minutes to go. It looks like...
I think David Ayres hit the nail on the head. He said all that talk of cake distracted Carl. Oh, and he's also mentioned Swiss roll and evaporated milk. That's something I haven't had for a long time.
Goodness me, camping food. Nothing like it after a 30-mile walk.
Okay, so barring any disasters, Spencer McCarthy has got round 1 in the bag with a 4.5 second lead, but the battle for second is still on. In fact, the battle for third is still on. There's not a great deal in that either. Matt Elmore trying to chase down Sam Blee. Sam Blee's trying to chase down Stephen Walker. Simon Trendle in 5th, bit of no man's land. Big gap in front, big gap behind.
Yes, big ask for him to catch up, but he got away from the guys he was cruising with. He had the pace of that, so he'll be happy enough that he's got away from that a lot. And but yes, he'll be. I think he did pretty well considering what he had to. He was in with a fairly competitive field there, and I think they're holding up each other up quite a lot, really. So.
Yeah, battle for 6th is on. Stefan Goebel and Russell Cowell. This is Chris, or we just saw Chris Needham trying to chase down Tony Walker. This is Stefan Goebel looking at 6th placed Russell Cowell.
He's going to have to find a bit of pace if he's going to do that. And of course, if you make an attack and it doesn't quite work and the timing doesn't quite work, then you lose a little bit of ground.
One thing I should have said at the top of the show, because of our elongated sessions and the racing finishing a bit later than it used to, we are only interviewing podium finishers this season. So if you want an interview, make sure you finish in the top 3.
Top 3 of both race? Or...
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, well, there's a chance it will be... A few ones will be on the 2 podiums, maybe? We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, possibly. Probably.
Maybe not, because there's a... Oh, jeez, that was a big hit. Sorry. That thunderstorm is getting worse and worse. There's, I think, 10 people at least that can go on the podium each race, so it's going to be quite hard with the reverse grid.
Yes, it's a very interesting conurbation of people here. We don't. There's no calling this. It's great, isn't it? Lovely, lovely little yeast rising of all this ability and all this talent all put together and reacting with each other and feeling each other out. New situation, new season, different changes to the cars, all the cars, and fascinating and exciting for the drivers and for the people watching.
Yeah, it's a bit, everything has changed, but everything has stayed the same, isn't it? You know, the cars have stayed the same, but changed. The way we're racing has changed. The track temperatures have changed. The talent is still the same. The racing looks like it's still the same. But I think it's going to take, you know, we're not really going to have any answers after tonight. I think it's going to take 2 or 3 rounds before we really know the pecking order.
Yes, I agree. It's there's an awful lot of fizz at the top of this bottle. We don't know. There's an awful lot of change. There's an awful lot of molecules reacting against each other and kicking around. It's yeah, exciting time for everybody. It's exciting time for the league. Look at those lovely golden banners, and look how many of them there are.
Ooh.
Oh, Sam, he held on to that, didn't he? That was skill. Crikey, I would have been spinning around there. That would have been me. This is when you see the difference.
Yeah,
Something
we just
like
see
that, fantastic save.
See Spencer McCarthy in the distance, not long now till he crosses the finishing line and takes the opening win of season 10.
It's There you go. Fantastic start for Spencer, and nice to see him on the circuit.
Yeah, good win for Spencer McCarthy. Stephen Walker comes home in second.
Yeah,
Sam
drives
Blees gave
by
it up a
Seaman.
bit in the end there, finishing third.
Well, comfortable third, and I'm sure he'll be happy with that in this first race. Important first race.
Still wants sixth position. He's not going to get it, but a valiant effort.
Yes, and a lot of fun had in the trying. And look, a happy man. This is what we want. Happy drivers. Look at these guys. He's still melting his brake disc, so he hasn't finished yet, even though he's plumb last. Makes no odds to him. He's still racing.
Yeah,
Jason, hard at it. Yes. Oh, they'll be loving this. Oh, he's gonna pull this on the last corner, is he? Oh, he's gonna get it back. What's gonna happen? No one knows.
Yeah,
looks like Jason's giving it, doesn't it?
Yeah, Carl just outbroke him there.
Yes. Well, it doesn't surprise me. He's done that to me a few times. He normally makes scary noises when he's going past me. Most intimidating.
Yeah, unfortunately for Carl, distracted by a pie. After running well.
His car does look a bit second-hand there, doesn't it?
All to do in race 2.
Well, this race 2 is going to be a very different beast. Really very different. And
he may have given that position to Jason Haddington.
I wouldn't be surprised, but you notice they're both in the Elantra, aren't they?
Yes. Yes, last season's weapon of choice is no longer the weapon of choice for this season. Okay, so let's bring you your round 1 results. Spencer McCarthy took away the win in the sprint race for Geodesic Racing. Stephen Walker second for Spectre 6 Purple, and Sam Blees rounds out your podium for Geodesic Racing. Fourth was Matt Elmore, Spectre 6 Silver. Fifth was Simon Trendle, Team Chimera. Russell Cowell finished 6th with Stefan Goebel in 7th. Jamie Wilson was 8th, Arnaud Chenonnier in 9th. Tony Walker rounds out your top 10. In 11th was Chris Needham, 12th was Roger Morton, 13th was JB Dejoux. In 14th was Matt Flannery, 15th was Shane Powell, 16th was Jason Haddington, and 17th was Carl Hardy. Okay, so we have a 5-minute break before we start the next race, and I'm going to use that 5 minutes to go and top my glass up. I shall be back very shortly, guys.
That was very exciting, and we didn't know what was going to happen there, did we? And more to come.
As always, racing was very interesting, and it's good to see that the old GT4 drivers made the switch to the TCRs and not, gave up on the league. It's good to have them all still, and I understand that, racing 5 people, it's not the same as racing at least 10 or in this case 18 other people.
Sure.
And makes the racing better for the drivers and also maybe a bit for the broadcast, even though racing has always been good in the GT4s, even with a low participation. But yeah, I think it's even better, and now at least we can show the winner of the race at the end. Where it was a bit complicated with the GT4s and TCRs. We sometimes missed the finish of the winner in one of those categories, but now at least we can show it, which is quite interesting.
No, it's a big difference, but I'm with you. I'm delighted that the guys have opted to go to the TCR. To me that was a smart move to do, because you've got a great bunch of drivers here. You don't want people to falling by the wayside, and these are all people who've driven TCRs on and off, or if they haven't, they're all so capable as drivers. They're just going to make the transition without any effort, and I'm sure that all sitting there really happy with the way that race went, that they've had a really good, hard race and a lot of fun, and that the off hours flown by, and that they're pretty delighted with the way things worked out. So I hope they're going to carry, I'm sure that good feeling will be there, and I'm sure they're going to carry it forward into the long race. And we don't know what's going to happen with that.
It's going to be interesting to see the reverse grid, because I don't think we ever had a reverse grid, because it did not really work with the multi-class racing. Now we can have it, which is quite interesting. And as I said a few minutes ago during the race, I think even the guy starting first is the guy finishing 8th in the first race. But I'm sure they can win the endurance part of this race, the feature race.
Just come out to show us his beautiful paint with the Queen on the bonnet there. Beautiful tribute that he did. Yeah, very nice, Roger.
I'm
very
back,
nice,
guys.
Have you seen Roger's car with Her Majesty on the bonnet?
I have, yes.
Isn't it low? It's gorgeous, isn't it? Absolutely gorgeous. He did a splendid job. We're a pretty loyal bunch. We were all pretty upset about this, really. You know, I was surprised, actually, the level of emotion of people. I knew I'd be emotional. But, yeah, I was surprised and pleased that the younger guys understood and were suitably downcast. I certainly am.
Yeah, well, nobody in the world does pomp and ceremony like the Brits.
No.
There's going to be plenty of that, to and including next Monday. Actually, the coronation of King Charles after that. So yeah, as Alan says, I am by no means a royalist, but a very sad loss to Britain and the rest of the world. But we've got another race to go. So your pole sitter for the feature race is Jamie Wilson for Team Chimera. Second, Stefan Goebel, VTS Esports. Third is Russell Cowell, Spectre 6 Silver. Fourth is Simon Trendle, Team Chimera. Fifth is Matt Elmore, Spectre 6 Silver. Sixth is Sam Blees, Geodesic Racing. Seventh is Stephen Walker, Spectre 6 Purple. Eighth is your sprint race winner, Spencer McCarthy for Geodesic Racing. Ninth is Arnaud Chenonnier for RWC Racing Red. And 10th is Tony Walker for Spectre 6 Purple. 11th, Chris Needham, RWC Racing Red. And 12th, Roger Morton, Safeguard by Result. In 13th, JB Dejoux, BSTV Esports Blue. And 14th, Matt Flannery, Geodesic Racing White. Shane Powell for Spectre 666 goes off 15th. Jason Haddington 16th for RWC Racing Blue. And rounding out your grid, it's the Pie Man, it's Carl Hardy for Safeguard by Result. Just see the temperature flick up there. I don't know if you can get that up again for us, Sam. So track has gone down to 37 degrees. So it's dropped 9 degrees from the sprint race. So we'll wait and see whether the guys got any useful information.
I can tell you that Sam Blees missed the grid.
Oh, interesting. So that means
he joined from the pit.
From the pit lane. And the pace car is in. Field in the hands of Jamie Wilson.
Yes, what an interesting situation we've got here. This is with Jamie and was it Stefan?
It's Stefan up there with him as well. Yeah.
These are going to fight. It's not going to be easy to pass. These guys are going to make this as hard as they can. They want to hold on to these positions.
Well, Stefan has jumped straight into the lead.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. He had good pace, if you remember. He was well up there in qualifying, and he probably thinks, get in front now, let all the trouble happen behind me. Let me get my tyres warmed up while there's nobody around me. Let me, any small mistake, I'll get away with it. And being in front is a very good place to be at the moment.
Yeah, I'm guessing Sam Blees went for a foggy.
Oh. I hope that was no damage. It didn't look bad, but a bit of bounce.
I don't know if Jamie Wilson got caught napping off the line there, or whether the grunt of the Audi just got Stefan past, but he's in the lead.
Good start to Stefan, I think. And,
He's got a lot of good cars behind him.
well, yeah, the last thing you can say about this is it's cut and dried.
Al Hardy already making places up from the back. He's up to 13th.
He's good and relish the situation. He will be very happy to make as many overtakes as he possibly can, and that's his idea of a good time. Mine too, actually. So yeah, it's just that I don't do it very often. I'm looking forward to the day when I do it.
Matt Elmore was very wide there.
Well, it's that kind of a corner, isn't it? It is. Very easy to just lose it slightly. You can end up in the wall and even get spat across the track into the oncoming on the other side, which is a very unfortunate situation. It is.
Tyler Newitt is on the chat. He should be hard at work, but obviously he's not. He's saying we've got to get JB an updated paint. Yeah, I blame the team painter myself, whoever that may be. Oh, it's Tyler.
Well, there's some very nice liveries out there, isn't there, tonight? I like them.
There's
The colour.
as usual, a lot of time and effort been put into these. Simon Trendle getting crowded out there, trying to turn in, and there was just too many cars in the way.
I'm just wondering how this is going to pan out and settle down. Everybody knows they've got an hour to go, and but it seems to me that they're pushing quite hard early on.
Well, to be honest, Alan, you know, up till now, most of our races have been 1 hour long, haven't they? And I don't think we've ever seen one that hasn't been a 1 hour sprint race.
It looks to me like that half an hour just put them in the mood, Clyde.
Yeah, it's just a warm up event with a few points on the table, isn't it? But you know, the slower cars, as in real racing, you know, they're momentum cars, aren't they? It's very difficult to take it easy, because if you get that run, you've got to take it, because you don't know when you're going to get it again.
No, they're spreading out a lot quicker this race. Have you noticed already compared with the first race?
Yeah,
Gaps appearing already. I wonder if that's to do with strategy or.
No, I think it's more to do with battles, and I think you'll see them come together again. You know, we did see a bit of it in race one, where two cars would battle, the car in front would get away, then they'd sort themselves out, they'd catch them back up again, and so it went on. Sam Lee's now up to 13th, going past Carl Hardy.
Now, I would expect Russell and... Oh, there you go.
So Spencer McCarthy started 8th, now
Yes.
up to 3rd.
Yes. No time wasted by Spencer. He just rattled straight past Russell there, and for a track that it's hard to get by, it always seems to me that on the tracks that are hard to get by, people who are good drivers make mincemeat of it. They do.
Yeah, it's again, I think, you know, it's like what we said at the start. You can put your car in a position on the inside of somebody else where you give the other driver a conundrum. You know, do you turn in and risk taking both of us out, or do you give me some space and give up the position? And you know, in this league, it has always been fair and respectful. So 99 times out of 100, you will see, you know, the driver on the outside yield knowing that, in a few corners or in a few laps, they're going to get the chance to do exactly the same thing back again.
Look at this classic Stevens.
That's a great
Old
under-over.
pose, they've just stepped out of a GT and stepped into a TCR, but they're still there side by side, neck and neck. Fantastic driving and fantastic racing by these guys.
And
Look at this.
have some of that as well.
Yeah, amazing. But Matt's had good pace this week. Cole told me that Matt's been going really well. So,
well, Matt's not going to win because somebody tipped him for a win. So
well, yeah. Well, he will be getting one, won't he? We'll both. I think he's a much improved driver, isn't he? I think he's an improved driver. It's Matt. He was bad enough. He was fast enough before, but it just gets better over the time. Mind you, so's Carl. It's been great the way both of them seem to me to have become just more mature and exploiting what talent they've got to actually the best that they can and making the best use of everything. And that's been hard won through a lot of hours behind the wheel, finding out exactly where you're good, where you're not good, what you can do about it, and trying very hard to be the best you can be. Because it's own reward.
Okay, so we have lost Jason Haddington.
Oh no!
He has just sent me a message. So he said he had no iRacing sound at the start of race 2, couldn't hear the engine, so he pitted at the end of lap 1 but couldn't get it working. And I think, as we've said before, one of the big differences between real racing and sim racing is you don't get the seat of the pants feel that you get in real racing. So sound and vision are your main clues in sim racing. You lose one of them and you're 50% down on your senses straight away. It is a horrible thing trying to do a silent sim race.
Oh no, it's a nightmare. It's really not worth it. It's so distressing. You lose. It's like losing a leg. Then you've got to psychologically come to terms with that. By the time you come to terms with it, the race is over. It's just not worth the trouble. It takes so much away from the experience. The other thing is that you do get beautiful feedback through our steering wheels, but you need to ally that. As soon as you take the sound component away, all of that effect just peters away. It fizzles out. It debases the currency. Losing the sound so badly.
Spencer McCarthy has got past Jamie Wilson up to second. So after he's saying I don't think we're going to have any double winners, Spencer could be out to prove me wrong straight away.
He wasted no time getting through that. Where was he? 8th? Did you say? Was he?
Started 8th. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he wasted no time, did he? Oh, crikey! It's less than 10 minutes, and he's there and serious pace, but serious overtaking ability against some really classy opposition who wouldn't have made it easy for him. Certainly not made it horrendously, mind-numbingly difficult because they want to race, but certainly he's had to have the pace. He's had to put the car in the right place and have the pace to do it. So good luck to him. He's done a stunning drive already. In 10 minutes he's actually blasted the field apart, and he's now chasing Stefan. I imagine the lap times are fairly similar.
There's like 10th in it, wasn't there, that lap. Sam Blease, who missed the start from pit lane, is now up behind the battle, which is Chris Needham, Shane Powell, Arnaud Chenonnier and Tony Walker.
It's a strong group there. So
they're not going to be particularly easy to get past. Stefan Goebel has got a 2.2 second lead at the moment.
I imagine that's going to be coming down fairly quickly. Now we've got some clear air. And the way that Mr. McCarthy's been driving, well, he won't be hanging around, will he? So Stefan will know about this. He'll know that he's got serious opposition on his way. And he'll be doing his best to keep that gap as big as he can for as long as he can.
Yeah, I think Stefan just made a mistake because he lost a second.
Ooh. Well, could be pressure, of course. It does play a part. And, you know, if you've got somebody who's creeping up behind you and now, you know, it's right in the toe and he's made the leap across and he's got in the toe now, you know that he's got the pace. You've only got to be looking in the mirror just to see where the guy behind you is just at the wrong moment, and it can cost you a second.
Yeah, it's a shame that it's Spencer, to be honest. If it had been Stephen Walker or Tony Walker, at least we could have said it was Walker the Stalker.
Yes, and I suspect Stefan will be able to hold them off a bit longer. I don't know how long he's going to be able to hold, because he's been an overtaking machine so far, hasn't he?
Yes, Sam Blees has just cracked the top 10. He's got past Chris Needham and Arnaud Chenonnier. Carl Hardy has also got past Chris Needham. Carl's in 12th.
This is a good drive by Sam, isn't it? And Cole's doing well, but crikey.
Yeah.
Look at him. He's another one. He's got past Tony already. That's fine driving. So we've got two outstanding overtakers.
Yeah, I think Sam's problem is when he gets past, or if he gets past Tony and then Shane, there's a 3-second gap at the moment up to Matt Elmore. Now the clear air could work in his favour, but then again it could work against him.
Yes. Well, the toe's definitely been turning out to be an important factor, isn't it, tonight? You can see the effect it's having on the field. It's if you can get into the toe, you've made the leap across. It's such a big help. It is. So it's then the guy in front who's got very little chance of getting rid of you if you manage to bridge the gap.
Sam Blees makes the move on Tony Walker. Puts him in 9th.
Is Sam ready for the podium, do you think? Looks like it, doesn't it?
Oh, he's got some drivers in front of him though, hasn't he?
Yes, he has, but you know, he's got 45 minutes to do it.
Yeah, but there's some serious talent to get past. You know what they say, catching is one thing.
Yes, and he's got Simon there and Russell and Stephen. But we'll have to see. He'll certainly be doing his best, that's for sure.
He will certainly give it a go, there's no doubt of that.
Yeah.
Spencer right.
And he'll be racing with a smile on his face.
Now.
He will. He'll be racing with a smile, which is, we like that, don't we?
Is it a smile or is it a grimace?
Nah. He'll be planning his pit stop, and now he's going to actually pull a faster one on the whole field and zoom off ahead.
A battle for the lead is on. Spencer takes the lead. It's took him 15 minutes.
Took even less time to get past Stefan than I thought it would. I didn't think it would take very long. He's just been on an overtaking binge, hasn't he? That's what his 8th overtake now, so there you go. That's 1 a minute. You've run out of people to overtake now.
Yeah, if he was a real driver, he'd slow down now, wouldn't he? And do it all again.
Well, he's got his work cut out now because everybody knows, you know, it's just got to match his pace. You've got to match his pace. You've got to stay up there. Hello.
And the other thing,
It's just gone backwards. It's going backwards.
Yeah, the other thing to throw into the mixer here, okay, is fatigue. So, 30-minute race, a 5-minute break, and then a 60-minute race.
Yes.
These drivers are going to be feeling it towards the end of this race. Well, probably towards the middle of this race. And just going downhill as the race goes on. So
I would hope that they're smart enough to have actually taken on some carbs before the race started, because, like you say, this is a lot of energy. It's not just the physical energy of steering and everything. This is a lot of mental energy, and that uses calories like nothing else. I mean, to think.
yeah, I always used to replace or replenish my body with cider in endurance racing. I think that worked absolutely wonders.
That's not bad.
Fully recommend it.
Real ale and single malt works for me.
Yeah.
So, I took the dietary side of it very seriously.
Yeah, I did. I was always on the Thatcher's Gold energy drinks.
Yeah. And I use those Ruddle County special.
Oh, don't talk to me about Ruddles County. Oh no.
Yeah. Happy days.
I had the worst hangover in my life after drinking Ruddles County.
You probably drank quite a lot of it, though, didn't you? Admit it.
It was a brewery trip.
You tried to drink the Ruddles Brewery dry, didn't you? Oh, dear. Yeah, well, I would have done as well. So, can't teapot and kettle you there.
It's very young and very naive, shall we say?
Well, that's how you find out to not be naive, isn't it? We all start off young and naive, don't we? It's what follows after that cures you of that.
I was never a very big beer drinker, but when I had to drink beer, I was always a lager drinker. And I was in the Air Force, based up the road from the Ruddles Brewery.
Oh, perfect.
RAF Cottesmore. And we organised a brewery trip. So we've gone up, we've gone round, we've tasted the hops and things like that, and we've gone into a big feasting hall with massive oak tables and like tables full of ploughman's lunch, and then they had what I can only describe as serving wenches coming round with big pewter jugs of drink, and one of the ladies said to me, "What would you like?" And I said, "I'll have lager, please." And they went, "This is Ruddles, we don't do lager." I said, "Oh, all right, I'll have whatever's in your jug then." And it was Ruddles County. But, yeah, I had a 10-day hangover.
Ooh, yes. Well, that's very impressive. Oh, I love it. It's been my favourite beer since I was 18. Or in one of my top 3.
Was it invented then?
Yeah, it was the early days. Along with Mawson's Pedigree, which is another prime candidate for favourite beer, but been a few others. I'm very fond of. I've always liked real ale, so I was one of the original camera people.
Excellent. Right, let's get back to the race after that. So, what have we seen? Whilst
I'm still waiting for Spencer to get by.
Well, Sam Blease has got past Shane Powell and chased down Matt Elmore. Sam currently in 8th. We've just seen Carl Hardy get past Arnaud Chenonnier into 11th. But Spencer McCarthy... Now, all right, we love a conspiracy theory. Spencer and Sam will be chatting in Discord. We saw Spencer go past Stefan. Do we think that Sam may have woed him up a little bit and said, "No, sit behind him, save your fuel"?
Well, it was a very sudden change, wasn't it, of strategy, because he had the pace, and I was very surprised not to see him just drive away, to be honest. So Unless he's got damage to his car, it's a decided change of strategy. Well, there we go.
Let's have a look. Yeah, to me, he's just moved out of the way and let him
He's just
through.
let him through. So,
No, you know, we know, no disrespect to Spencer, but Sam Blease is the tactician of the team. And a lot of the time we could even call him a master tactician with some of the strokes that he's pulled. I just have a feeling that Spencer's being coached by Sam in the dark art of tactics during this race.
Well, interesting idea, and he would make a fertile ground for it, wouldn't he? He would. And you're quite right, Sam is a master.
It's either that or we picked up a slowdown a bit before that I cannot catch.
Yeah, I wouldn't rule that out, Sam, but what I would say is the way Spencer chased Stefan down and got past him, if he'd have had a slowdown, he would have got past him again laps ago. I think that's all tactical.
He certainly had the pace, so yeah. There wasn't any holding him up the first time, so it is interesting, isn't it? I think there's something behind that. Don't think it was just slow down.
But this pack here, Russell Cowell, Simon Trendle, Sam Blease, Shane Powell, almost, are almost now with Jamie Wilson.
Fantastic racing by everybody. Look at this, they're all together. They've been so close. And look at this, side by side, nearly every corner there's somebody side by side with somebody. It must be an absolute joy fest out there for these chaps.
Sam trying to go around the outside of Matt Elmore, and he's got it done. So that's Sam up into 7th.
These guys are going quick. This is serious pace. That they're racing hard, but they're going quick. These are fast times. These aren't slouch laps because they're racing hard. They're fast laps.
And the race is going quickly as well. We're 23 minutes in already, which to my reckoning means the pit window is open.
Yes, and I think that's a critical thing. So now Spencer's gone back in the front, has he? So there we are. So maybe it was just to slow down, Sam. Maybe that was it. So
no, I think now they're in the pit window. I think Spencer's saved enough fuel and now can try and stretch his legs. It's now up to Stefan to stay with him and save some fuel. But
yes, well, that's quite a challenge. You would think Stefan would relish that, because that's not going to be easy, is it, to hang on to him? Even with this good tow that people are getting here, we know that how quick Spencer is, so swift.
Yeah, but wherever Stefan finishes, for someone who doesn't like front wheel drive cars, and I say that because I know he doesn't, because he's told me. He's a number of these GT4 drivers are driving the TCR under sufferance, shall we say, because there just wasn't enough of them to make a competitive series with the GT4s. But Stefan, surely he's going to come away from this. So even if he crashed out now and finished 16th, he's going to be like, do you know what? I don't think I've got too bad pace in this TCR car.
No, too right. And he's quite right as well. He showed well in quali. He's clearly got pace. He could be well happy with what he's shown already. Quite right. And I don't know whether he's going to be surprised. Perhaps he's surprised, as and wasn't expecting this himself, and or perhaps he had a couple of laps in practice and just clicked and knew that he had pace.
Yeah, the other drivers. So Stephen Walker and Simon Trendle, we've seen them in TCR before and know that they can wheel them. Arnaud Chenonnier, Chris Needham, probably in and around the same positions that they may have been in a pack GT4 field, to be honest. So I don't think they've gone backwards. Jason Haddington, we don't really know because obviously didn't get a chance really to race in race 2 with his sound issues. But yeah, it'd be interesting to chat in the next couple of days just to find out, how some of these guys that signed up in GT4 felt they went in the TCRs.
Surely nobody can be disappointed. Look at this. The racing's been fantastic. You couldn't get it any closer, could you?
And Spencer's stretching his legs out front now. Like it's over a second already.
I think Stefan's doing a heck of a job hanging on to him. Like, because he's good drafter, and he's doing his very, very best to hang on, isn't he? It's like,
yeah. I tell you what I think happened. I stick by my original theory that Spencer was sitting behind Stefan saving fuel. And I think he was watching the gap back to Stephen Walker, and Stephen Walker was starting to close, at which point Spencer was like, can't hang on any longer, I've got to go.
yes, interesting. Well, of course, Stephen's a weighty presence, and you would want to take account of it if he was starting to breathe down your neck, wouldn't you? Because he's a very dangerous driver. It doesn't matter what car he's driving.
Okay, Sam Blease is now battling Jamie Wilson for 4th position, and he gets the job done. So he's got 5.5 seconds now, Sam Blease, to make up to Stephen Walker.
Come on, Roger. Roger's sticking in. He's had no chance to practice, and he's bravely sticking in here. I think this is great of him to do this.
There's our first
here we go.
taker. It's Shane Powell. Is he going to take tyres?
Good question.
I'm watching him in the pit lane. Not seeing the car go up. So I think that was fuel only for Shane.
I think it's a close call. I don't think this is a bad track for tyres, even with the temperatures we're at. It's cooler. It's been cooler in this second race. So I'm thinking maybe they could... it's a much closer call than you'd imagine.
Yeah, I think there may be a couple of tracks. We go to Daytona next. That's going to be heavy wear on those right-hand side tyres, isn't it? So I think drivers are going to have some decisions to make this season, rather than just the usual decision of I'm not taking any unless I forget to untick the boxes.
Yeah, well, this is a fair track of rights and left, isn't it? This is, a well-balanced circuit, I would say. It's probably why people enjoy it so much. It's got a beautiful rhythm and balance to it, and I don't think it's terribly hard on the tyres. They're coming in now, look. Hello, team split.
Yeah, that's Matt Elmore now. We'll keep an eye on him. A little bit short in his box, and that's a shuffle forwards. That's going to cost him a little bit.
Simon's giving Russell plenty to think about. Here he goes. So
Maybe De Jure in as well. Doesn't look like anybody's taking tyres at the moment.
There's Jamie. Jamie's only lost, was it 1.7? Oh, no. Come back a little bit, but considering they started at the front, he's still running fifth. This is a good ride by Jamie to keep there.
Yeah, Sam Blease has driven away from him, but Sam isn't making any inroads into Stephen Walker.
Well, Stephen is chasing after Stefan, isn't he? Stephen, we know he wasn't showing a huge amount of pace in practice, but he did pop up in qualifying, didn't he? With a bit more pace. So, hello, here we go.
Russell Cowell in now, and Chris Needham. Chris Needham looked like he was coming in really hot there. Hope he got that woed up.
There's no mad rush to get everybody in once, is there? They were coming in ones and twos. This is they're spreading it out.
Everybody playing by their own tactics. Still not seeing anybody take tyres. He's come right out into that Flannery Powell battle.
Exquisite timing. There we go. Just in time to say hello to your teammate. Messrs. Howell and Powell on the track. As scenic as ever.
Well, we're over halfway. Who's going to blink first up the top?
Oh, I don't think any of these lot are for blinking, are they? It's Spencer's just that consistent couple of tenths, isn't he?
Yeah, Stephen Walker's just set the fastest lap.
So his car's light, but still driving well after half an hour, so his tyres are still in good nick. So that's probably why there's nobody putting new tyres on if people are putting in fast laps still at this stage of the race.
When you're up the front and there's no undercut because people are not taking tyres, you want to run as long as you can because you really want everybody else behind you to pit so that when you make your pit stop, you're not coming out in traffic waiting for other people to pit.
Sure, and clearly he's got a light car, but he must have a bit of life in his tyres still, so he's putting this time to good use, and it could well result in a change in his position on the road. Look at these, goodness me. Well, how close do you want it, chaps?
Yeah, I think Russell Cowell just put the frighteners on Matt Flannery. To these three
there's three cars there.
Their way past.
Look, you can only see two, but there's three cars there in that line. There's only room for two cars in that line, but there's three cars there. Amazing.
That almost worked because two of them went past. I think they're all past now. Okay, leader just put in the fastest lap.
Well, he's working on his gap, isn't he? So it's nearly up to 3 seconds. That's substantial now.
Simon Trendle is in the pit lane. And out again. Tony Walker's in the pit lane. And leaving.
I hope Carl's got his pit head on today.
Yeah, that's always a worry with Carl, isn't it?
Can be.
Driving down the pit lane, gets a whiff of pie.
Some moments he can be distracted.
So none of the top 7 been in the pit so far. Roger Morton has just put in his fastest lap of the race.
Well done, Roger. I'll staying at it as long as he can. He's trying to take advantage of his car and everything, and he's clearly got, you know, his pace is better probably than he was worried about, because he's, you know, he's running well still. Though there's been very little retirements through damage or misdemeanor.
Yeah, Stephen Walker in the pits.
It was only poor Jason who had to retire, and that was a technical thing rather than damage, a crash or anything like that. So these drivers are showing their skill as well as racing very hard.
I know Shinonie in the pits.
So Simon's going to go ahead from him then. Does that mean he's going to be chasing Stephen now directly? Do you think he stands a chance?
He was quite a way behind, to be honest. Sam Blease that was trying to chase down Stephen Walker before the pit stop started, and he was actually losing time to him.
Yes, but I think Stephen got his foot down, didn't he? We'll have to see how it pans out. Get the tires warmed up, and
we've seen in the past Sam Blease pull some special tactics with pit stops. He was about 6 seconds behind Stephen Walker before the pit stop started, so it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out.
yes, well, he's proved it time and again that he's a bit of a magician. Like anybody who's very, very good at what they do, he just makes it so easy. He gets his car to run on thin air, apparently.
The top 5 are yet to pit.
So is Cole still been out? Is Cole still? Yeah, he's still hanging on. That's fantastic.
Yet.
Come on, matey. Well, there's going to be a big change, isn't it, when that lot come in?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who does well, who doesn't do so well with the pit stops.
Yes. Yes, it's exciting prospects. Really, don't know how it's going to pan out.
It could shake things up, or it could make things worse. Okay, leader is in the pit lane.
Oh yeah, and Stefan.
Second is in the pit lane. Third is in the pit lane. As is fourth. Let's wait and see on fifth.
Oh, won't if he doesn't have to.
They're all in.
Yeah, he had to. I think they were probably all on fumes at that point. What do you reckon?
It certainly looks that way, doesn't it? Nobody's going up on the jacks.
No, I don't think they dare take tyres because nobody's taken any, have they?
No,
and they had good pace. They were driving very nicely. There was the cars were handling well enough. There was nothing to see untoward, so clearly they had good rubber left.
Yeah, I don't know what tyres would have cost them extra. But obviously a little bit too much for somebody to even take a chance. Stephen Walker has jumped Stefan Goebel in that pit stop. Stephen Walker up to second, Stefan Goebel third.
3 seconds down. Does that say it's 3 seconds?
It's 2.1 seconds. Sam Blees is 3.6 behind Stefan Goebel with
That's quite
19 minutes to go.
What was the gap before they went in? That's quite a turnaround.
Well,
for
the
Stephen.
gap. Yeah, I, to be honest, I didn't take much notice of Stefan's time, but the time between Stephen and Sam was 6 seconds. Now that's definitely gone out. But this is going to be, can Stefan hang on the third step of the podium, or can Sam Blees, after starting from pit lane, make it to the podium?
Oh, crikey.
Al Hardy came out in 10th.
I think his pit stop wasn't the best one he's ever had, probably. I don't know if he was the last into the pits, but he was the last out of the pits of that bunch.
He was actually the last one in as well.
Oh,
I
thank
was
heavens.
watching that bunch as they all came in.
Well, 10th and in good shape with his fuel on.
Yeah, and like I said, you know, there's 18 minutes to go. It's not over yet. Driver's going to be hot, sweaty, knackered.
Oh, they'll certainly be feeling it now because though there is you know, you do get a breather on the back straight. You get a chance to collect yourself, but you not if you haven't made a great exit from the previous corner, because you've just got to get that right, otherwise you're suffering all the way up the straight. So it's nothing fun about watching it green turn to red because you stuffed the exit from that corner. But look at this sequence. I love going around here.
Okay, now Okayama is not usually a very incident-strewn race, but I am just going to have a quick look, and yeah, no, biggest incident point collection so far is from a couple of drivers with 7, so
Wow.
you're not going to have to worry about the drive of shame tonight.
No. Actually, it doesn't surprise me. People have been driving a really good line, haven't they? You can see
Yeah, and
that,
like I say,
you know.
it's not one of those tracks, is it?
No. No, if you the natural line doesn't generally bring you into confrontation with the track limits. These guys might get the occasional 4-pointer because of the close contact that they have, the affectionate rubbing against each other. Look at these two, for instance.
Yeah, Carl wants 9th. Matt Elmore on Shane Powell as well is the next battle up the track to these two.
Well, Cole knows this place like the back of his hand, but I imagine that Russell does just as well, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, it is a rookie track, isn't it? That everybody's done hundreds, if not thousands, of laps on.
Russell's smart. He'll know exactly where the overtaking chances are for Carl. How kind is he feeling?
Well, these are the little battles that mean so much at the end of a season, aren't they? We see the TCR championship last season was won by, I think, something like 4 points.
So we couldn't call it. Even
yeah,
the last
that-
5 minutes, we couldn't call it, could we? It was amazing.
that's one position.
It was what an end to a season. It was fantastic. Yeah. Couldn't get anything better than that. It was fantastic.
So Sam Blease is slowly eating into Stefan Goebel's lead for third place. 14 minutes to go.
Then, how are the lap times? There's not a lot in it, is there? So
No, I don't know. I maybe have an inkling that Sam is a little bit. I'll say a little bit. Probably a lot more experienced on driving the TCR when things are starting to wear out than Stefan is.
right, yes, good point actually, because that does affect these cars. You know, when the wear starts to set in, because
Yeah.
tires get so much hammer, and because they're so utterly crucial to everything you're trying to do in that car, from going faster to slowing down to getting around the corners. You need your front wheels working, and to do that you need good tires, or the best you can get. And of course these tires, these guys haven't taken tires in the pit stops, but it's not a free ride. You can guarantee that the last few laps they'll be knowing all about the fact that they didn't take those tires. The cars will start to get very unmanageable, shall we say, and there's a price to be paid for, you know, those seconds you gain there.
Yeah, and that's Sam Blease, I think now.
Whoa, that's the first kind of,
yeah. Out of the tyres. Well done.
yeah. He
Was
did
it-
very well there, didn't he? He just got the back end to bite into the sand.
Yeah,
That
I
could
was gonna
easily
say,
have bashed it. Yeah,
Sam Blease is
Hello.
now
Oh,
in tow range of Stefan Goebel.
Paul's got past Russell.
Yeah, and Matt Elmore has made the move on Shane Powell. So Matt Elmore up to 7th, Carl Hardy up to 9th.
This is a very familiar looking row of names, isn't it? Elmore, Powell, Hardy, Cowell. And then bookended by somebody you wouldn't expect to see there at this time of day in a TCR.
Matt Flannery running wide. Just helped to turn the corner by the tile barrier there. But I think that broke his front left suspension.
Yes. There was enough there for that, wasn't there? It's a shame he's had to tow. So, how's Sam doing? Oh, he's right on Stefan now. Goodness.
This is the battle for second.
Third.
Third, sorry, yeah. Keep forgetting about Stephen Walker. Not only do I not interview him, but I forget he's racing.
Well, he's got a gap. Look at this gap that he's built in short order. That says quite a lot about Stephen's pace tonight. The way he's picked his pace up, you know, over the evening, he's just got faster and faster, hasn't he?
Can't do anything about Spencer though. He's not catching him.
Spencer's just such a talented, quick driver, and you know, he's a master in this car, isn't he?
Yeah, and again, well, he's just set another fastest lap. I think with Spencer, it's, you know, can he do 23 of 23 rounds?
Well, I'd love to see it.
Or can he do 21 of 23, shall I say? Because they do get a drop meeting. If he can, we know he's going to be right up there.
Well, he deserves to have that banner on his car. So maybe that'll motivate him. Also, you know, you've got people like Simon Trendle and Jamie Wilson, they're only going to get better. They are. You know, the guys that have just arrived from Planet GT, they're only going to get better. They are. They're going to get used to the car. Some of these guys won't ever have driven one of these things.
Yeah, well, I think that's what's impressive with Stefan. You know, he's up there in fourth place now, but you know he's doing that on pace. It's not like there's been a big crash and
No.
a lot of the fast guys have crashed out and he's picked up the pieces. He's doing this on pace in a car that I don't think he's done anything in before.
No, very familiar territory, I think, for Stefan, isn't it? And it's outstanding performance, really. But he has been turning in some outstanding drives recently. His name's been on our lips quite a lot. He has. And good luck to him. He's doing fantastic tonight. And, you know, I'm not going to show favouritism, but I think he deserved the podium. But Sam's, you know, Sam's just... what a drive Sam's doing. You know, you can't argue with the guy who started from the pit lane. He's done fantastic drives, so... You've got to tip the hat to that, but I think Steph's doing very, very well. So,
when the GT drivers decided that you know they was going to switch to TCR, like I said to him in the chat that we had going on, you know, let me know what car you want to change to, and I'll sort it all out for you. Stefan said, "Well, I only own the Audi, so I'll go with that." So, you know, to me, I think that means he bought it when it first came out, drove it, hated it, parked it. And this is probably the first outing it's had.
I've certainly never seen him in one.
Bought it.
Yeah, I don't remember ever seeing him in a TCR. It's not a car that I associate with his name, and certainly whenever I've seen him, you know, it's a name that I'm familiar with and you know, have looked at for years. You know, if I see Stephens in the race, I will always keep an eye out for him, and that's been the same for years. Because he was there when I was fumbling through my first GT races, but it was in a GT car, you know, and that was years ago. So
Stephen Walker has now taken the fastest lap.
That's good driving by Stephen.
Yeah, they're trading it up there.
Yeah, this is great stuff because, you know, you're going to get Simon up there, you know, Matt maybe. These people, this is a fascinating the way this is going to, you just don't know where it's going to be. Well, I do know we're going to get great racing out of this lovely mix of new blood into because it must be very exciting for the drivers. It must be inspirational to drive against different pilots in different cars. They're all experienced people, and they're nuanced drivers. They're not all dive happy. They're nuanced racers, and they'll be enjoying this fresh challenge. Oh, look at that. This is great, isn't it? And there's so much close racing, so many side by side, so much nose to tail. It's just and so little damage, so few incidents. It's a real testament to the skill on display here.
Yeah, I'll remind you of that next week, Alan, where we see everybody die at turn 1 at Daytona.
Daytona. Well, I've got more faith in them than you have, clearly. But I do take your point about Daytona.
I have seen the best of the best die at turn 1 at Daytona.
I die there regularly. Takes a while to get grooved every time I go there. By the time I get grooved, the race is over.
My trouble with turn 1 at Daytona is if it's a 50 lap race, I do it differently 50 times.
Excellent. Most excellent. Yeah. Did it different 52 times in a 50-lap race. Look at this. Here we go. Look at his flit. Come on, Matt. So
No.
Simon is Simon's starting to look dangerous, don't you think?
Yeah, I just found something annoying.
Oh, go on.
So, I don't know whether Sam can back me up with this, but
Nope.
could we look at the front of Sam Bleezer's car? And what I will say to the viewers is, have a look at the stripes.
They're not
They all
aligned.
sit. Well, they're almost aligned. Now have a look at Spencer McCarthy's car. They are not aligned.
Oh boy. I don't know if that's on purpose, but I don't think it is. Is it the correct paint?
I don't know, because they upload their own, don't they? So,
Well, if you look, the lines are connected.
yeah, because they were both in the Audi, and then Spencer jumped to the Velociraptor. Ooh, bit of a wiggle there from Spencer as well.
I don't know.
His tyres will be getting very tired, I imagine.
So yeah, come on, Geodesic, sort it out. You don't want the worst looking car on the grid vote.
It looks like he's had a smash up, doesn't it? That's the thing. We need those lines to know whether you dinted.
Right, so
2 minutes to go, and still eyeballs out.
yeah,
Nobody's getting an inch.
Shane Powell and Jamie Wilson is the closest battle on track. See if there's going to be any other position changes without a mistake somewhere.
This is. I think you'd probably make a fair guess at the composition of the top 5 people at the start of the race. Maybe not in that order necessarily, but
No, but I think
four out of the 5 you would have maybe put in there.
yeah,
But
well,
you know,
when we spoke about the schedule, I think that is the beauty with this season's schedule, is the tracks are so varied. There's going to be drivers that go, do you know what, I'm going to put a ring around that one, I can win that, that's my favourite track.
yes, absolutely, it makes a difference, doesn't it, when people have come across a track that they really like. It certainly does make a difference. I think this is a great leveler track, actually, in terms that everybody knows this and everybody enjoys it. So,
yeah, and a good track to start a series off, isn't it?
oh yes, I mean, I love this. You spoke earlier about people having tracks where they come when they've got a new car to try out their new cars because it's such a familiar. Well, this is my track that I do that with. It's been my track for learning and doing that stuff. This was the first track I came to with Steve Cooley when he was taking me out for my first few instructional laps to try and get me up to pace to go on the league. So this has always been an important track to me. It's still where I go regularly. So when I've got these new cars and I've got these new cars at the moment, this is where I come because I know exactly how a car should feel around here.
Okay, well, drivers now on the last lap. Spencer McCarthy not that far away from proving me wrong and getting a double win in the first race meeting.
Yes, but nobody could have called him getting from 8th to 1st in 10 minutes, could they? You know, that was astonishing. It was. So, take your hat off to the lad. An amazing performance. And a stunning drive by Sam as well. And, you know, and there's Mr. Walker, who hasn't been lucky tonight. He's just shown determination, grit and talent and taken a TCR out of his box and brought it home in second place. Congratulations to him.
There we have it. Spencer McCarthy home for a double win. Jamie Wilson, Shane Powell battling out on this final lap.
Spencer will be over the moon. He wouldn't have seen that coming, would he? Goodness me. Fantastic performance by him. By all of them, actually. Stefan, Simon, Matt. You know, they're all there at the denouement, all within a handful of seconds of each other. They are. You know, they've all driven like heroes tonight. Fantastic performances, I think. Great to see so many cars still on the track coming over the finishing line. Still full of running. Brilliant.
Win for Spencer McCarthy with Stephen Walker in second, Sam Blees in third. How weird is that? Top 5 positions, all the Christian names start with S.
Spectacular.
Sensational.
Stupendous. Spectaculario.
We better save the replay.
Oh, amazing. Well, that was some kind of a race.
Okay, so your official finishing order for the feature race. Spencer McCarthy with a second win of the evening for Geodesic Racing. Stephen Walker came home second for Spectre 6 Purple, and rounding out the podium, Sam Blees for Geodesic Racing. Great night for them in the teams as well. Stefan Goebel with a great 4th place finish for VTS Esports. Simon Trendle 5th for Team Chimera. 6th was Matt Elmore with Jamie Wilson 7th. Shane Powell in 8th and Carl Hardy 9th. Russell Cowell rounds out your top 10. Arnaud Chenonnier was 11th with Tony Walker 12th. Chris Needham 13th. JB Dejoux 14th. Roger Morton in 14th. Roger Morton in 15th. Matt Flannery finishes 16th and Jason Haddington in 17th. Woo, okay, so great opening 2 rounds there, Alan. If I'm honest, I still don't think we've learnt a lot on how this championship is going to pan out for the season. But, you know, honours definitely go to Spencer McCarthy after Okayama. And more broadly to Geodesic Racing with a massive haul of points in the team championship.
Yes. Terrific start. Great to see Spencer. And what a start. He must be absolutely thrilled and sensational racing. I think the track did us proud. The drivers did us proud. And what a mouth-watering prospect this season is looking like, you know.
What a start. Right, okay, let's get these interviews done and dusted then, because the hour is getting late. So let's bring in our double race winner, Spencer McCarthy. Welcome to the booth.
Hello, chaps. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. I said that there's absolutely no way that we're going to see any double winners this season. And you went and ruined it in the first meeting. Tell us all about it. How did that come about?
Well, I mean, obviously the main competition probably was going to be, well, Sam and Stephen for that second race, obviously trying to get past them. I didn't really have to do it in the first race because got a decent queue. And then Sam went to toilet, really. So he didn't get back in time. I'm not really sure what happened there.
We guested. We call it going for a foggy now.
Yeah.
It's not the first time it's happened. But
and then I think Stephen's queue got on the start. The queue on the start finish. Yeah, he seemed to get backed up a little bit on the start, and I had a bit of a clearer run around the outside, so that got Stephen off the start as well. So really, it was then. I wasn't trying to rush it. I didn't try and rush getting through people. But then, to be honest, I think people knew that there was some decent pace, so they weren't trying to fight silly. I had a good little battle with Mr. Trendle on the early few laps. That was quite nice. It was, I think he tried to hang it around the outside of the hairpin. But I think, no harm, no foul. I think there was contact, but it was, no issues there, I don't think. And then, just dragged up to Stefan. And then went past Stefan because I think he pretty much was like, well, I'm going to hang with you, see if I can cling on to the podium positions. And then I heard you guys say, oh, he's got past everyone. That's a bit boring. He better go back. So I went back and then tried it again and sat behind him for a while. But yeah, that was, it was hard work. I was bang on it. I think if you look at my lap times, I was pretty consistent.
Yeah, we sort of speculated that we didn't say he's got to the front. It's really boring.
I could rewind the video and play it if you want.
What we did say was, you got to second, you chased Stefan down, you went straight past him, and then you pulled over and let him pass. So we was wondering, was Sam in your ear telling you to tuck in behind him and save some fuel?
No, you guys. You and Alan were in my ear. I was, pleasantly listening to the stream, seeing what, expletives you were sort of saying about me. And then, I heard you say, well, he should go back now and do it all again. So I thought, well, okay, I'll go back.
I meant go back to 8th, not to 2nd.
What, you meant all the way to 8th, did you mean? No, I wasn't going to do that.
Yeah, so you failed.
Yeah,
okay.
I failed.
Yeah. Well, listen, mate. That was a totally dominant sort of victory or race meeting in total.
It was unexpected. Yeah.
Is it a track that you really get on with, or?
I've done a lot of Mazdas around here. I'm fairly handy with the Mazda, and I think this was one of the tracks that obviously everyone does a lot of because it's free. I seem to get a decent run of it. It was one of the first tracks I kind of nailed in my, when I started iRacing. And it was one of the ones I really first looked up on YouTube and went, can I get a tutorial for this lap? I'm sure as we've all done in the past. And I've listened to some guys sort of explain the corners, and it was the last corner that was my Achilles heel for a long time. And then once I watched this video, I realised that actually you had to turn in with more speed basically and let it drift into the corner, and all of a sudden there's another half second and it's like, wow, I'm on the pace now. So I don't know, it was one of those first tracks that I felt like I kind of nailed and was on the pace. It's obviously we've all done it a lot, so
yeah, it's very interesting. I think a lot of people would say the same thing about their own experience around here. Yeah. Oh, you drove fantastic. You took all those from 8th to first in.
I think there was a few off the start.
Fantastic! It was fantastic. Scintillating start, exciting, very exciting to watch. Yeah.
Cheers, Alan.
Right. Well, after 2 race victories, are there any shout outs you want to give before we let you go?
Just to the whole of the BSTV grid, really. I mean, there's some great guys that have moved across from GT4. Unfortunately, I think that's a shame that we're not got multi-class. I think that was a good format. But hats off to the GT4 guys. I mean, they were holding their own, particularly Stefan. I mean, he was, in that second race, he just got his head down and launched it, and then played the right game. He kind of sat behind and tried to get dragged along. And yeah, no, hats off to him. So yeah, I think shout out to those guys. Kind of sorry that it went that way and not the other way, and we could have all been in GT4s if it was the other way, I suppose. But yeah, let's have a good season, and yeah, have a clean one, I guess.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on your double race victories, and hopefully we'll see you next time out, Spencer McCarthy.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Yeah, nice one.
Okay, Alan, let's bring in for you a double second place finisher tonight, Lucky Pants Walker.
Oh, boy, he's lost
Place?
his run out. It's got me.
Second place, surely not. No way.
Yeah, second place, Stephen. Wow. And, I didn't even know where the gear stick was when you got this car. And now look at you. Fantastic. Well, that was, what did you think? I mean, what did you think about coming over to TCR for one thing? I mean, it's not like you're unfamiliar with this car.
Yeah, basically, I was going to take the season off, but my brother wanted to join the league if he had the right amount of tracks. He did. But we just was like, well, we'll just go in the Audi, saves getting another car. So obviously it's an expensive hobby as it is. And I was like, I haven't driven it for ages. I didn't realise it might actually, with obviously they've changed the cars with the last patch, and obviously there'll be another repatch. So it's at the minute, apparently it's quite strong. Which I think we kind of did witness that today. So I'm sure that'll get sorted in the next patch. But yeah, it was only supposed to be just a bit of a laugh. But with everything the way it's turned out, I think it's turned out for the better. And some of that racing and that sprint race, and then at the first half of the feature race was really good. Loads of respect shown by everyone. Close, super close racing. That's exactly what you want from this class of car.
Oh yeah, mate. It was constant, side by side, nose to tail. It was fantastic performance by everybody. But it was so great to see you doing so well, moving up the field and in your first drive in the TCR for ages. It was, I enjoyed that very much, and everybody's performed well, but you've driven really well tonight. It's great.
Thank you very much, Sir Al.
You're very welcome, my friend. Is there anything else you want to tell us about it? Because we've got the new season, we've got this new format. What do you think to the sprint racing thing at the start?
Yeah, I like that.
Because, doesn't it?
Yeah, like it. I like it because you don't sit in a procession unless everyone's kind of a similar pace. Like, obviously, I wanted to get past Sam as quick as I could, and I tried to, but I couldn't. And luckily for me, unluckily for him, he just went a bit deep on braking into the last corner. I managed to avoid hitting him, and then keep it. And then obviously I was keeping an eye on defending from him for the entire rest of the race. And then I had one of my stable mates behind him as well. We're pushing each other along, obviously, because Spencer escaped, but it was still fun. And then again, when you switch to the reverse grid for this the feature race, it brings a whole new lot of challenges. Like, because everyone's around about the same pace, but you have to use the advantages of your car to get past. And like say, we had brilliant. I think I had a good battle with both Jamie and Simon in the Honda. And I jumped Stefan in the pits. I want to shout out Stefan actually, because to drive a car that he's not driven much, as far as I'm aware anyway, and be right on the pace was absolutely fantastic for him. So yeah, it should be a good, fun, long season with a lot of good, safe drivers in there.
Yeah, intriguing racing. Really, it fizzed and popped all night. It was a fantastic start to the season. I really think it was. You won't get anything much better than that. It was fantastic. Everybody had a great drive. Very little damage. Lots of close racing, but just the gentlest of door rubs, and really, it was a credit to all of you. And I'm so glad that you decided to turn up and your brother prevailed, mate.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Blame him, that's why I'm here.
So, any shout outs?
Yeah, obviously you guys putting the league on, and with all the changes and stuff, obviously there's been a lot of discussion, but I feel like it's definitely for the better. And it just goes, in my eyes, it'll go from strength to strength. The rest of my team, again, Stefan, Spencer, Sam, everyone that turns up regularly on a Wednesday. My brother, for his first race, did pretty well, considering he's not done too much in this car as well. And just everyone, really. It was just a good season starter.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks very much, my dear. That was it was a treat to watch you tonight. I really enjoyed it. Thanks very much.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Okay, so that was Stephen Walker, second place in both races. So let's bring in Mr. Sam Blease, who had 2 third-place finishes. Welcome to the booth, Sam.
Hello, we've made it really efficient for you by finishing in all the same places.
There was a discussion. We had 6 different people, and we end up doing 6 interviews. And I just said to Sam, "We'll do it, but I'm sure we'll get a couple that finish in the podium." But yeah, you're right. You know, first, second, and third in both races. So nice and easy. So let's talk about race 1 first. Fantastic battle there with Stephen Walker, but unfortunately once that battle had panned out, Spencer had managed to get a good chunk of a lead, and there wasn't a great deal that either of you two could do about it after that.
No, I was driving like a moron in the first race. I'd done all this practice with Stephen and the rest of the guys and Matt and Russell, and I figured out what I needed not to do, which is basically don't brake too late, don't overdrive, and that's exactly what I was doing the whole of race 1. I used more tyre, or I used within 2% of the same amount of tyres in race 1 as I did in race 2, without changing. So yeah, race 1 was just messy. It was a good battle with Stephen, and as ever, it was nice and clean. But I was just making mistakes all over the place, and yeah, just let Spencer get away. I think he probably had a 10th on me in the first race anyway, so I doubt I'd have stayed with him. But I might have stayed there. I doubt I'd have passed him. But yeah, it was not my finest race.
Okay, and race 2. What happened in the interval? Did you go for a foggy?
No, I was just saying to the guys. I went downstairs, was chatting to my missus, and I just said, it starts in 5 minutes, not realising actually I hadn't left till there was 3 minutes to go. And then assuming I would have a 2-minute leeway anyway. And so I was just chatting away, and it's like, can you grab my bag from the kitchen? So I went to do that, and then I came back upstairs and I'd missed the fucking start, hadn't I? So yeah, it was annoying, but it made for a really fun race. It was very good fun coming through, and I was really happy. Like, the car felt much better. I'd made a couple of like tiny tweaks, and I was just driving more sensibly. So I felt like I had a really good pace. It was really good fun coming through, and yeah, I was very happy to finish 10 seconds off the lead, started from the pit lane.
Yeah, that certainly was a phenomenal drive. I don't think I've ever missed the start of a race 2 for a reason like that. I do remember one year doing 58 million laps of practice for the Indy 500. Did a load of practice in the morning, went downstairs, sat in the armchair, fell asleep, missed the start. That was really annoying. There was some phenomenal racing on show tonight, and then next week we go from one end of the spectrum to the other with the Daytona Road Course. That's going to be some serious draft trains going around there, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it might end up being one big pack for quite a long time. So it should be good fun. Probably a bit more fuel saving, a bit more strategy coming in. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, mate. Any shout outs you want to give before we let you go?
Just the standard stuff. So thanks to you guys as ever for hosting, and good call on switching to the single class. I think that's, we've got a really nice sized grid. There's battles up and down, and I managed to see all of them as I was coming through the pack today, which was really nice. Everybody came out. It was excellent, clean. I had some really good moments with Russ, Matt, and Jamie. I think where we were sort of side by side, and it would have been very easy for somebody to have been pushed off, and we weren't. There was space given. There was it was just very nice, clean racing. So thanks to those guys. Well done to Spencer and Stephen. And yeah, see you all again next week.
Yeah, well, congratulations on your showing tonight, especially that that drive from the pit lane in race 2. And obviously, don't forget next week. It literally is 5 minutes between the races. There will be no chatting to the missus at half time.
No, I will. Maybe I'll just keep my headset on and tell people to shout at me if I've got less than a minute left.
There is that. Okay, mate. Well, let's say congratulations on your results tonight, and we'll see you next time out. Sam, please.
Cheers, Clyde. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, good night, Sam.
Right, guys. So that's the interviews over because we're only doing the top 3 this season. So we jump straight to driver of the evening. Now we only have to choose from one class this season, so that should make it a little bit easier. And while you two guys have a bit of a think, and I think Sam has gone for a foggy as well, I'm going to start off. And it's fairly simple, isn't it, this week?
Yes. Too simple for words.
There's Spencer McCarthy, 2 wins. Stephen Walker, 2 seconds. Sam Blease, 2/3, one of those from the pit lane. There's Stefan Goebel with his 4th place in race 2 in a car that I'm almost adamant that he's probably done about 3 laps in all time. Decided he hated it and parked it. I can't vote for the winner because that goes against all my principles. I should really give it to Stephen Walker for 2 seconds, but I'm going to give it to Sam Blease purely on the race from the pit lane in the second race and getting 2 third places. So my vote is going to go to Sam Blease. Over to you, Alan.
Yes. So I'm very tempted to give it to Stefan because I think he's made a remarkable transition to the new car, and I'm very tempted to give it to Stephen because for likewise and fantastic second places. But I'm going to give it to Spencer because he won 2 races.
I honestly thought you was going to say Carl for his top 17 finish in race 1.
No, I can't. Much as I'd like to, I think it's a very close call between that and double winner Spencer McCarthy. But Spencer's driven the wheels off the car. He was like a dose of salt in the second race, and a joy to watch.
Excellent. And over to you, Sam.
Well, I will pick Alan's first choice by picking Stefan. It's a guy from the GT, as you said. I don't think he drove the TCR as much, if ever, and he managed to do a pretty good first race. He lost a few positions at the start, but it happens. And then the second race, he managed to keep up almost with the 3 front runners from a few seasons ago, and for a few seasons, even though Steven raced in the GT4 last season, he still won 2 times the TCR championship. So it's not like he's not driven well. So yeah, Stefan, I think, good pick.
Excellent.
Yeah,
good pick. To
I'm
be
glad
honest,
you did.
guys,
I'm glad you did choose him.
I
bet it was a strong second place for everybody.
Yeah, I think all 3 of our picks tonight could have walked away with all 3 votes, to be honest, which to me just proves how good the racing was tonight. But that is rounds 1 and 2 done and dusted. Coming up on BSTV in the next 7 days, we haven't got anything this weekend. I think there's something iRacing special eventy going on this weekend. So the next time we're back is in this exact same slot next Wednesday. Back with the BSTV TCR Challenge from the magnificent Daytona Road Course. So make sure you tune in for that. Big thanks to everybody that joined in on the chat. Big thanks to all of our viewers, whether you view it live or at a later date. Big thanks to the drivers for putting on such an awesome show tonight, and especially from me, special thanks to the GT4 drivers that unanimously voted to switch over to the TCR and give us such a great grid of TCRs. Obviously, thanks to Sam and Alan, as usual, for joining me in the booth, for the excellent camera work and excellent commentary. That just leaves me to say goodnight to everybody, and then we can close the broadcast, and Sam can go to bed because he's got to be up early for work in the morning, and I haven't because I'm on holiday. So make sure you drop this video a like. I can see we've only got 3 at the moment. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube so that you never miss any of our action again. We've had some problems with our Facebook page, so we are in the middle of making a new one, and once that's done we'll get the links out so everybody can join us and keep up with all the action on there as well. So good night everybody, thanks for watching and stay safe.
Good night, folks. It's been an absolute joy tonight, and we'll see you next week.
And good night, everybody. See you next time.